anyway. You talk so damn much, you might as well do it. And I just remember kind of dismissing it and being like, me, YouTube, like, what am I even going to talk about? And then literally a few weeks later, she passed away.
You are listening to the Mixin It Up podcast. Get your smoothies ready. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Mixin It Up podcast. This is the show where we drink smoothies and we dive into some deep conversation. And today I've got a very, very special guest. I'm joined by the wonderful, amazing, fantabulous Nissy Tee. She's an entrepreneur, she's a content creator, she's a Christian woman, and she's an all-round ball of energy, and she's newly a wife as well. That she literally is doing it all. She's doing it all and she's representing for us women. So thank you for joining me, Nissy. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so. What an introduction. Okay.
No, I
love it. Yeah. No, thank you. You gave me some seasoning, some sauce. I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I'm so glad to have you here today. I just feel like there's so much that we're going to unpack.
Yeah.
There's so much, especially because we're both East London babes.
Yes. Well, I don't live in East London anymore.
But
originally, I'm not going to lie, I left the ghetto.
She
okay.
did.
I had to get out.
She got out of here.
I got out. I'm so sorry. I've lived in East London my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Born and raised in East London, grew up in East London. But yeah, it was time for me to say deuces and go to a nicer, quieter area.
Are you countryside now?
Would I say that it's countryside? If you drive like 2 minutes away from where I live, yes, it immediately becomes countryside. But where we live, we basically picked somewhere that was near like the town centre. So it still kind of feels, it still feels nice. It doesn't feel like you're completely like get out vibes. Yeah. But it definitely, if you just drive like 2 minutes down the road, it's just woods and like, loads of greenery. But I love it. Best decision we made, honestly.
I have to bear that in mind for when I'm looking for a house
when
in the future.
Do it. I think London is nice. But London is just too much. I don't know. I feel like maybe because I was born in it, raised in it my whole life. It's just, I don't know. It just feels like too many people, too much traffic, too much noise, too much crime, too much. It's just too much. So I was just like, nah, let me go to a nice little old town. Yeah. And just go when we get married, when we have our children and stuff. We've got a nice little town going on there. So it's good.
That's really cute. You've got the perfect setup. Lovely stuff. So like I said, guys, we've got loads to unpack. But before we do, I don't know about you, Nissy. I've been in a rush. I'm very thirsty.
Oh my gosh, please. I'm thirsty. My throat dry. I'm thirsty.
It's so dry, honestly. So we are going to create some smoothies because, as you know, on the Mixin It Up show, that's what we do here. And I did ask you what was your favourite fruit, and you mentioned mangoes.
Yes.
So I've got something that's mango based for you.
Amazing.
Very sweet, very orange. It's gonna hopefully tantalize your taste buds.
Okay, I'm excited.
So let's do that and then we'll get right into the interview.
Awesome.
Guys, I do have to admit I am cheating here.
Why?
Because I've got these bags full of frozen fruit.
That's not cheating. That's being smart. You know? I would say it's being smart. Who's got time to be going and getting an actual mango and chopping it up?
Exactly.
Nobody has time for that. Right.
Thank you for understanding. So that's what we're going to be doing
mine,
today.
yeah?
So we're going to be using both. We can do swapsies.
Oh, nice.
What's is our mini blender. So this is basically a green smoothie blend.
Oh, okay. So you might hate me. I can't have that because it's got pineapple in it, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't know if I'm allergic. I don't think I'm allergic, but it like irritates my stomach. I will feel sick afterwards. So I think it's just gonna have to be maybe mango.
A mango smoothie.
A mango smoothie.
You can't go wrong with mango.
That's so sad.
It's all right.
Okay.
It's all good. Let's begin. So if you just grab your mini blender.
Okay, cool. Ooh. This is nice.
They're kind of cute. Last time I had the show, they didn't actually work, so I've got a big blender in case.
in case it doesn't work.
We have the same scenario.
Okay, cool.
I always like to start off with the bananas.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
So if you just want to pop that in there.
Okay.
Peel the bananas.
Love a good banana.
The blacker the banana, the sweeter the juice.
It's so true.
And then you basically want to pop it in half inside the blender.
Okay.
Like that, into small pieces.
Is it even going to fit in here?
Well, that's the problem we had last time.
Lord.
There was too much in there.
I'm already getting messy. See, this is why you don't ask me to do things like this. Because look.
DIY.
I'm already making a mess. Oh, Lord, have mercy.
Okay.
Okay, right.
So now what we're going to do before we add anything else.
Yeah.
Because I've got an idea. Maybe it will blend better if we do it one by one.
Okay.
If you just blend the banana.
Oh, okay. Right.
Just by itself.
Okay.
And it should work.
I don't know if that's
Fingers crossed.
If that's going to do anything.
Okay, let's hope and pray.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Let's do it, guys. Let's do it.
No, oh, yeah, it's working.
Mine's working, but
Thank
it's not
you,
doing
Jesus.
much.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna...
Okay, we're gonna have to pull out the big boy.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna have to pull out the big boy.
That's okay. I think if we mixed it in with a liquid, I think it would then blend.
Do you know what I think it is? They're cute, they're aesthetic, but they don't do the job.
I don't know if they do the job, to be honest.
The blender thing is not blending.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We've got the big one in hand. We're gonna go grab that. Okay. What we'll do is, if we pop the bananas into this big one.
Okay. Shall I just tip it in?
Yeah. And we'll do it in one go.
There we go. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. But then that means you might not be able to have, because remember, I can't have pineapple.
I won't do it. It's fine.
Are you sure?
It's okay.
Oh,
I can
I'm
miss
sorry.
out on the pineapple for today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to get you to have a plain, very, very plain smoothie.
No. This is all right. Mango's kind of that fruit that you can just have it on its own.
Do
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
True.
So if you just want to pour some mango chunks into here, then we'll add the juice and then we'll begin blending.
Tell me when to stop, yeah, because I'm
going.
very heavy-handed.
Same. The more mango, the better, I think.
The better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Oh, it's nice and soft.
Yeah. It's not too clumped up.
Yeah. Actually, put more mangoes, because then it won't taste like banana.
That's so true. You don't want it to be a banana smoothie. You want it to be a mango and banana smoothie.
100%.
Banana is very overpowering as well.
Exactly.
Okay. Tell me when you think it's good to... Oh, trying to get it all out.
Maybe that'll be good for now.
Okay, cool. I'll do that.
So now, guys, we're going to add some juice, some mango juice, one of my favourite drinks to drink ever in life.
Love mango juice, and the one from Iceland as well. So nice.
Do you?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Good.
Not that we're plugging it.
Yeah, we're not doing.
We're not doing. But they didn't sponsor the video, so we're not plugging you guys.
But yeah,
just bleep
we
it
do
out.
love mango juice. Okay, I think that should be enough.
Yeah, I think that's more than enough.
And then we're going to blend it together.
Awesome.
And let's hope that it works. It should work. I use it
yeah,
at
no,
home.
it will. It will.
I use it at home. Okay.
Okay.
So if you look after that for me while I go and actually get the actual blender thing.
Okay, cool.
And then we'll begin doing that now.
I feel like this is going to taste good.
Oh, 100%. It will taste good. Chris, do you have the extension cord? I'm going to edit this all out.
Don't worry, I know. I know how this works. Don't worry, babes.
It's not your first rodeo, eh?
No, my love, it's not at all. I know how this works, babe. Do not worry. Spent hours and hours and hours only for people to get like 5 minutes of footage.
Oh,
and then people will be complaining. If you even knew the work that goes into this.
Into it all. Oh, yeah, it's true.
Boy. All right, you ready to go?
Okay, we're ready.
Okay.
So if you pop that into the grooves.
Okay, is that right?
Yeah.
My lord. Why did I get scared, please? I wasn't ready.
She wasn't ready.
What?
Guys.
I was not ready.
She wasn't ready, but guys, it's
Look
blending.
at that.
It's almost done. I don't want lumps of banana, so let's do it
Yeah.
one more time.
Let's make sure it's nice and smooth. That looks so good, I can't lie.
I know.
I'm that girl. You know the girl that dances when her food comes?
Same.
The one that dances when like her drinks, her food. That's me.
Yeah.
So.
But the food's not bussing if you're not dancing.
Yeah, it's true.
It's not good food if you're not.
But then see, the problem is I dance even if I haven't even eaten the food yet. As soon as it's arrived, I'm dancing already.
Even if you can't smell it.
Oh no, if I can smell, if it smells good. Yeah, true.
Exactly.
Yes.
Anyways, guys, the smoothie is done. I'm a very happy girl. I'm a very happy girl because I love smoothies. Here we go.
This is good.
Guys, look. Look into the camera. Look.
It looks good.
It looks like custard, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it does. But it's okay. It's all right.
It's going to taste good.
It's all right.
So if you get your cup ready, and I'll pour you a glass.
Thank you. Oh, that looks so good.
There you go. Yummy. Yum. Okay.
All right.
Cheers.
I think
to
cheers.
Yes. Eye contact.
Eye contact, yeah. If not, what do they say? You'll have bad sex for 7 years or something like that.
Say that.
Obviously, when you're married, babes, yeah? Obviously.
We'll talk about that
obviously. Before people start saying, oh, she's now... Listen, all right?
Oh, no, it's all
Love
good.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank
this is so
you.
cool.
Okay, let's taste it.
Okay,
because we're guessing it up. Let's see if it actually,
That is so good.
I'm loving that. It's very sweet.
I'm going to be making this at home.
It's very nice.
If I at you on Instagram, just know this is inspired by...
Guys, this is actually too good. All you need, 2 ingredient smoothie.
Literally.
Banana and mangoes.
And some mango juice.
Oh, I love it.
So good.
So good. Oh, gosh. Anyways, I've got loads of questions I want to ask you, so make yourself comfortable. Enjoy your smoothie.
Thank you.
So obviously I did mention at the beginning that, you know, you are a social media creator, a content creator, and you've been doing that for some years now. And a lot of the viewers that are watching this video might actually recognize you the most from something that you did a couple years back called Backchat. So I wanted to start off a conversation there.
Yeah, awesome.
And I wanted to ask you more about that experience and how you even got involved in that to begin with.
Yeah. No, do you know what? I love this question so much because I think people, well, two reasons why I love it. One, because I still forget, like I forget that I actually was on the show because it feels like a lifetime ago. It feels like I feel like a whole different person from then. And I also love this question because I always say the same thing. I always say that Backchat was such a pivotal moment in my like career, my progression, my growth. It really gave me a platform to grow. In terms of how it all started, it was like a very basic story, nothing crazy. Basically, the director and the creator of Backchat, Andy Amadi, we were actually like friends basically before. So within East London, there was like this growing community of creators and people that were doing amazing things. And they all used to use this studio, which is, I don't know if you will know it, but you know in the middle of Stratford, like old Stratford, there's a church right in the middle.
That's
like
my
an
old church. That's my old church.
Really?
Yeah.
But so I'm sure you know, but underneath that church, if you go inside, there's like studios, there's like things underneath. I don't know if you've ever used it, like seen it before.
I haven't used it, but I'm aware
but you
that
know
it's
it.
there. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So that's where they used to basically all use. And I used to do radio back when I started radio when I was like 15.
Right.
And I did radio, like it was like a really small, local, really small station, like nobody knew, underground. And I did a radio course there and I started radio that was across the road. Don't know how I got introduced to these guys and stuff, but all of a sudden we kind of connected, became friends. I wouldn't necessarily say like closest of friends, but we knew of each other. They'd come on, like, for example, Andy used to be in a music group and they'd come on my show when I was doing radio. And I always used to be there. So another example, for example, J5, that everyone knows, the producer, works with Jake Haas, Burna Boy, all of them. He also used to be in that studio. And one thing I will say, by the way, very, very tiny. Massive shout out to J5 because J5 deserves every single thing that he's getting. Him and I think his fiance, I don't know. I always like to put people together because I best believe she was probably there supporting from day one. So that's why people shouldn't be mad when he's buying her big car. I'm sure she deserves it.
She's been there from the beginning.
She's been there. But one thing I'll say, he deserves it because he literally, I remember going to that studio and every time I went to the studio, he was always in one of, because there was separate studios, in the studio working. He was minding his business, making beats.
Really?
This is before anybody knew who he was. So yeah, he deserves his flowers.
So
I just
been
thought,
doing it for
he's been doing it. Even Andy, the rest of them, like Andy was creating content, doing stuff from before. So NSG used to...
So you mentioned you were around 15, 16 at the time. Was they all similar ages?
No, they were older. They were, I think they have about like 5 years on me. Like, no, maybe even more than that, like 7 or something like that. Cool. I was kind of like the young girl, around the older lot who were just doing their thing and they were smashing it. And because I was doing radio, it was a group of people I wanted to be around because they were doing a lot of amazing stuff. They were creating video content, like music videos. They were just doing amazing stuff. So every single one of them, even Andy, J5, NSG, they always used to be in that studio doing work and stuff. They all deserve it because they've been putting in the work. But that's literally how it was. I knew them from before. Andy comes up to me one day and is like, oh yeah, I've got this idea for a show. It's a debate show. I love talking. I love debating.
Of course.
So I said, yeah. And it was my friend. So I was like, oh, I'm going to support whatever it is that you're doing. And then it just blew up. So you mentioned it just blew up like that. So was you expecting it to kind of take the social media world by storm the way it did? Definitely not. Definitely not. We all just went in kind of very naive. Like, again, like I said, I kind of went in with just the mindset of I'm just supporting a friend. I'm just going in to support a friend. He's got this project. I love debating anyway. I just want to, help him. He's asked me 110%.
Yes.
So no clue it was going to go viral. No clue it was going to become like this big thing in our generation. No idea at all.
And so you kind of you mentioned to me that it was like a pivotal moment in your career.
Definitely.
And so you also were doing YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So was you doing YouTube alongside that or before, or how did that work for you?
Yeah, so I actually started YouTube back in 2000 and 15.
Yeah.
And I think I've shared this story so many times, but it was after my best friend passed away. So my best friend, Adele Addo, she passed away really, really suddenly when we were both 18, and I had started at Cambridge.
Yeah.
She had just started at Loughborough University. We were only a couple of weeks in and she passed away. But before that, and it's so weird how God works, because just before that, she basically was telling me, like, we were walking Westfield, you know, Westfield as you do, probably just street ratting, like nothing even important to do. We didn't even have money to spend, but we would like walk into Westfield, crossing the bridge. I can remember it like it was yesterday, so clear in my mind. And then she goes to me, oh, Nissy, like, you should start YouTube. And back then, YouTube wasn't really a thing. Like now, we've got like, you know, everybody and their mum is on YouTube. Yeah. But back then, it was like the OGs. It was like the Jenny Jenkins, Patricia Bright, Breenie Lee. In terms of like the black girls, Gracie, Victory. Those were the people, like the OGs of YouTube. Nobody else was really doing it, right? But I remember her going like, oh, Nissy, you should do YouTube. Like, you love talking anyway. You talk so damn much. You might as well do it. And I just remember kind of dismissing it and being like, me, YouTube? Like, what am I even going to talk about? And then literally a few weeks later, she passed away. And I remember, and anyone that's experienced loss of like someone that's so close to you, like she was literally, we were together all the time. Yeah, like we were even meant to go to the same uni. The only reason I ended up at Cambridge was just because a teacher was like, look, your grades are amazing. You've got the potential. You could actually go to Cambridge. But we were going to end up at the same university. We did everything together. Like, she literally was my sister. Yeah. So losing someone so close to you turned your life upside down. And you assess everything. You assess everything in your life. And I just remember being like, do you know what? Let me just do this YouTube thing. And I needed an outlet as well to be able to really express what I was feeling. And YouTube kind of became therapy for me. You know, I used it to kind of share my story about her sudden passing. And loads of people were able to connect with it. And that's how the journey grew. But in terms of alongside Backchat, yes, it was. So I started YouTube back in 2015. I think Backchat, I was on it like, I can't even remember the years anymore. Must have been like 2016, I think, so maybe a year later. But nobody knew who I was. Like, I was doing events, I was hosting for free. Like, no one was paying me. Nobody knew who Nissy Tee was. And then Backchat, like I said, blew the platform up. And then all of a sudden, people started to realize, oh, she does other stuff as well. So it was side by side.
Ah, I'm really sorry to hear about your best friend who passed, because obviously that can be a really sad experience.
Yeah.
Especially when you were so close. Yeah. But it's good to see that something positive came out of that, and you said that you use YouTube as like an outlet and a release for you. So I actually wanted to ask you, in terms of YouTube and content creation, have you ever felt like there was a pressure? Because sometimes, I know in this society, I don't want to come across blasé, but there can kind of be this black girl aesthetic, if you want to call it that. So have you ever felt a pressure to live up to somebody who's in the public eye, should we say? Have you ever felt a pressure to come across or appear a certain type of way to fit in with the black girl aesthetic?
Do you know what? Sadly, yes. And I've spoken about it in a YouTube video. I told you, YouTube is like my counselor therapy, even though I've done real therapy as well, which I recommend to everybody, do therapy. But yes, I did. I remember a period I was off of YouTube for like a good few months, like 3-4 months. And I came back onto YouTube and I was explaining that. I was saying how, you know, I went through a period where I started to feel like maybe I would grow quicker, or maybe I would get further, or maybe I would be better off if I decided to be somebody that I wasn't.
Really?
If I decided to, and the only names that I could think of, because this was the time where like Nella was blowing up, right? Yeah. Nella, who I absolutely love, that's my sister. She's amazing. She's a heart of gold inside and out. Such a great person. But that's when Nella, for example, was blowing up, and I was kind of like, and Nella, you know, like she's got energy, she's a joker, she's like a comedian, you know, and that's not really me. Like, I love having like super serious conversations. I want to know about people's stories. And I started to feel like the YouTube space was changing.
Really? In what way?
In a sense that back in the day, so like I mentioned before, the OGs, right? You're looking at the Jenny Jenkins, Breenie Lees.
Yes.
I felt as though they could be themselves, but themselves in a way, I don't know how I'm trying to find the best words to explain it.
No, of course.
In a very calm way. I don't know how to explain it. Not that everybody else is not calm. I'm just trying to get the right words.
Different personalities.
Different personalities. Yeah. But it felt as though you didn't have to have a big, a big personality per se in order for you to be able to grow on YouTube. Right. It was kind of you could just show, for example.
Come as yourself.
Yeah, come as yourself. But let's say, for example, back in the day, people that did makeup and stuff like that, they were the makeup gurus. They would just come and be like, oh, this is how I do my eyeliner, and they'll do really, really well. But now, because it's so saturated, not that it's a reason not to do it. I think there's space for everybody. There's 7.9 billion people on the planet, so there's always space. But because a lot of people are on YouTube now, because they've seen the value of it, they've seen the beauty of YouTube. It means that you have to do something different to stand out, right? Which has then led to a lot more people being attracted to the people that are a bit more loud and talking about maybe topics that I'm not maybe interested in or comfortable talking about. So what was really difficult was kind of trying to get into this place where I realized the truth of the matter is, whether I like it or not, my feelings are my feelings called. I wish more people watching my content. I'm talking about motivation and empowerment. But the truth of the matter was that people were starting to go into a place of people like the drama. People like the loud, the noise. If we're going to talk about a black girl aesthetic, I don't really like talking about that per se, because black girls come in many different forms, right?
Thank you.
We come in many, we're not a monolith. We come in every form. There are quiet black girls, loud black girls. There are, black girls who are all about makeup, wigs, weave, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And then there's also black girls that are all about natural hair and locks. That's the beauty of being a human being, full stop, period, right? But in terms of that if you want to narrow it down to the aesthetic that a lot of people talk about, which is a stereotype that comes from somewhere, which is the black girl contour, highlight, wig. Let's just put it down. And lashes. Let's just put it down. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not, because for the most part, was I not going to wear a wig yesterday? But I was just I can't bother. Let me just have my hair out.
And your hair's looking lovely.
Thank you very much, Mia. Yes. Thank you. It's very healthy at the moment.
Yes,
we love it.
You can see that.
But that black girl aesthetic, quote unquote, it did feel like, okay, if you want to get further ahead, you kind of need to fit into this box. No one said it, but it felt like it, right? So I went through a period where I started to feel like, oh, maybe if I started being a bit more bubbly and maybe having other sorts of conversations that again didn't feel, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but they didn't feel authentic to me.
Right. Okay.
Now that's where the problem occurs. When it doesn't feel authentic to you, then I started questioning. I was like, wait, this is not me. This is not what I said I was going to do on YouTube. So I took a step back and I was off for 3-4 months, just really trying to assess what am I about? What do I want to talk about? Why am I doing this? And I think once I was able to get back to that place of why am I doing this, I was able to come back and be like, guys, look, this is how I felt. This is really what I was thinking. But at the end of the day, I know that I am not the Nella Roses of this world. I am not. They have their place and they're doing amazing and I'm so proud. But that's not me, and that's okay.
Yes, exactly that.
So yeah, I definitely have. Not necessarily to fit into an aesthetic, but to maybe be something that I know I'm not.
Right, of course.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, definitely had those periods, but I'm glad that we're not there anymore.
We've come through it.
We've come through it, and we're not there anymore.
But I think you highlighted something so important there, where you basically mentioned that it's actually okay to be who you are, your authentic self. You don't need to feel societal pressure to, ascertain to something that you're not.
Exactly. And if you are the black girl that likes her long 30-inch weave, loves her lashes, contour, highlight, be
then
that.
That's okay too.
That is absolutely fine. Be that. But don't become something because you think, oh, everybody on Instagram looks this way or is this way. And it's hard because we're in a time right now where we do, whether we like it or not, there's validation in social media. There's validation in growth. Again, this is just me speaking from reality, right? Because I think a lot of people try to pretend and do this whole thing of no, but you've got to love yourself enough to not care. Listen, at the end of the day, we're human beings. We're going to care about what other people think of us and say about us. Unfortunately, it's the truth. We are interconnected. We don't live on an island on our own. We are going to care. And to some degree, numbers do matter because people judge you on that. You get, whether we like it again or not, opportunities. Some people are not afforded other opportunities because of numbers that they do or don't have on Instagram. It's just the reality of the world that we're living in. And if you want to play that game, because nobody forced us to come and do We're going to go on YouTube. We're going to go on Instagram. Nobody forced us.
Exactly.
Don't then be mad when you're like, oh, people are all about X and that's what's getting the numbers. If you want to play the game, you know?
Right.
But it is a sad reality, but it's the reality nonetheless, you know,
we're living in.
That we're living in. And, you know, and I think for me, I had to kind of really fine tune my mind and be like, Nissy, it's okay that you're not like this. Find your own lane and find what works for you and stick to it and find your niche.
Yeah.
And you will find your tribe. Your tribe will come to you, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, and I feel like that's quite an empowering message that you just shared. And you actually mentioned on the end of that, you just said something about people having to, I've forgotten now. Moving on to the next question.
It's okay, don't worry, you'll probably remember in a bit.
I had a really good point. I was like, we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
So I know that you have a Congolese upbringing. You also mentioned that you're an East London babe.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you, with you having a career within media and within the world of social media and networking and stuff like that, how did it come across, and were your parents, family members, friends okay with the fact that, you know, especially, are you firstborn?
Yes,
right.
I am.
So you're a firstborn child.
Yeah.
You come from a Congolese background.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure riding on that. So how did your parents and your family take it when you said, actually, I want to have a career in media? And how did that go down, honestly?
Yeah, so with my, and it's so funny because African parents are so hilarious. Congolese parents are so hilarious because they don't believe until others start to believe. I think a lot of Congolese parents are like that. Or maybe just parents as a whole. Parents as a whole. Because they want you to, and do you know what? I think it comes from a place of love because they want you to be secure. They want you to, and I think that's why they put a lot of pressure on, like, you know, go and get a job, finish university, do this, do that. Yeah. Because maybe, you know, those weren't the opportunities that they were afforded. So both my parents migrated from Congo to the UK in the 1990s. Yeah. So they really had it tough. Like, just so tough. They've been through so much. They've experienced so much pain and sacrificed so much for us, you know, the kids that were born here so that we could have a better life. 100%. So I get it. I get the fact that sometimes they're very limited in their mindset. But I also think that, and I think things are changing now, but I think it's important as parents to also acknowledge what your children's genuine interests are. So for example, I always love speaking. I always used to be the kid. I don't know about you, Nayana, but I used to be the kid in school report, parents' evening. Nissy's so bright. She's brilliant. She's amazing, but she talks too much.
Same.
Was that always you?
Same. Every time.
Now,
it's nice to know it's a shared experience.
And the thing is, anyone that's in front of the camera, doing content, journalism, broadcasting, they all say the same thing. They're like, I used to get it all the time. Right, and now I laugh because I'm like, well, look, I get paid to talk now, which is great. So
look at that 360.
Do you know what I mean? Like it flipped on its head. But what was I going to say? So, you know, in saying all of that, my dad basically was not supportive, let's just say, at the beginning. Love my dad, bless him. But I remember the day that I came back and I kind of was like to my parents, like I want to go into, and at the time I phrased it as broadcast journalism. Oh, is that what you meant? Just so I could package it well, you know? So I knew that I wanted to be a presenter. I knew that I wanted to have my own TV show one day. I basically wanted to be Oprah. That was like the thing. Every girl's dream. I think every girl, like every black girl, right? Every black girl's like, Oprah is like the dream. I always said I wanted to do Oprah. I wanted to be like Oprah. But I wasn't exactly going to go to my parents and be like, oh, so guys, I'm going to be the next Oprah. They're going to look at me like you're right. You're right. Yeah. So what did I do? I basically packaged it as, I want to do broadcast journalism. Yeah. So I remember my dad, like, coming into the living room, telling my parents, my dad was on like that side, my mom was on this side. And my dad kind of laughed at me and was just like, you might as well, what basically something along the lines of, what do you think you're going to do with that? Like you should go and actually get something that actually pays. Like, and he just dismissed it completely.
So he didn't even pay it a thought.
Girl, he didn't even look at me when he was saying that. He was like he was just like looking at, I remember him being like, whatever, kind of like closing his eyes. This can't be real. Yeah, he was just kind of like, okay, cool. She wants to, naive. She's, you know, dreaming with the fairies. Yeah. Whereas my mum was kind of like, if that's what you want to do it. You know, and my mum, so she was quite supportive. My mum was very supportive. My mum bought me my first camera, which I still have. I don't use it anymore, but I still have to this day. I don't think I could ever get rid of that camera. Just because of how sentimental it is. My mum bought me my first ever camera. Bearing in mind, my mum is like a woman, very, very working class at the time. Like I'm a benefits kid, free school meals kid. Like that's how I grew up. So this woman on like her benefits took her money and spent like £330 to buy me a camera because I was like, Mum, I'm going to do YouTube. I'm going to do this thing. I'm telling you, it's going to go somewhere. So my mum was always, till this day,
she was a
biggest
rider.
Cheerleader.
Yes.
But my dad,
took a bit more convincing.
And the convincing happened when then further on down the line, all of a sudden now my page is growing. I'm getting 10,000 subscribers, 20,000 subscribers, 30,000, 40. Oh my gosh, now I'm hitting the 60,000 subscribers. And then my dad now starts calling back home and is telling people, so make sure, and I'll say it in my language,
go on.
What got on YouTube? What got on YouTube? What tell Nissy? I come on YouTube. That's basically like go inside. Like if you were to do literal translation, go into YouTube and write out basically like, type Nissy Tee. She's on YouTube. She's doing her thing there.
Oh really? So he was like big.
So he was like now spreading the word. He's basically now become a disciple and is now doing evangelism on my behalf.
Not a disciple.
And I'm like, you weren't a believer before. You were not a believer before. You were looking at me like, what's this thing gonna do? And now he's like just so proud. He talks about me everywhere. Especially then obviously I ended up at Cambridge as well. So even that, like, now he wears it as a badge of honor. She's got this, how many subscribers? She's doing a thing, she's on YouTube. I'm just like, but that's what I mean by sometimes with parents, you've got to show them the fruits first. So that they can believe in it because, like I said, they just want you to be, they want you to do well and they want you to be secure. Definitely. And sometimes that feels, that feels safe, basically. But I was always the kid that was a bit of a rebel, kind of wanted to do my own thing. So
sometimes they can be evidence-based. So like you said, you have to show them the fruits in order for them to see the tree.
Exactly.
Or the image of the tree.
And don't get it twisted though. My mum did have her moments. Like she was like, you need to focus on school. You're not, you're doing too much of this radio stuff. Because I said to you before that I started the radio at like 15. And I was going to radio like in the evenings and she was like, you're doing too much of this stuff. You need to focus. And there was a bit of a growing frustration.
Really?
Yeah, I think my mum like kind of was also like, it's taken away from your school, etc. And I just remember saying to her like, Mum, just give me, like, I will make sure that my grades stay high, but please let me continue. If my grades drop, because I was always like an A student, A and above student, if my grades drop, no problem. You can tell me to stop and I will stop. But as long as my grades, and so I had to come to like a compromise there, as well. So kind of compromising, kind of showing them the fruits, kind of proving the point. All of that,
And then I'm sure they could see the passion within you. I mean, if you're saying, Mum, please,
I'm
sure after a while she definitely came round.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. You mentioned there that obviously you got into University of Cambridge. Yes. Congratulations on that. Big congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I want to ask you, so what was the process of getting in like? Because obviously from an outside perspective, as someone that hasn't gone to university, I can only assume that university is hard to get into, point blank. So Cambridge is a whole nother
ball game.
Right, so talk to me about that.
Oh God, it's just long. Number one, you have to apply way earlier than everybody else.
Right.
So with Oxbridge, so Cambridge or Oxford, and you can't apply to both, by the way. You have to choose one. And choose one, so you can't do Oxford and Cambridge together. But you have to apply by October, whereas normally people are applying for university like January time.
Yeah.
But you already have to have already started working on your personal statements, from ages ago. And then on top of that, you also have to provide work as well. So for example, I studied English literature. And so in my application, I didn't just have to do a personal statement. I also had to provide proof of my work.
Really?
So work that I had done like in classes before. But thankfully I had teachers that were like able to correct it and help me to put together really, really good pieces of work. So you attach that, you send across your application just like everybody else, but really, really early. And then they'll invite you to do interviews. So you actually go and you're interviewed. Well, obviously, if they decide to get you past that first point, but you do interviews. They interview you. You come in. I remember going in for my interview, and I remember sitting in like the hallway outside, and there was like everyone there, and we got to stay the night before.
So did you have to go to Cambridge?
Yeah. So we actually had to go to Cambridge. Okay. We got to stay the night before just to make sure like everyone was on time and stuff. Stay the night before. I remember being so nervous and being like, oh my gosh. Can you imagine me being here at Cambridge? Oh my gosh, this is a big deal.
What emotions were going through you at that time?
everything.
Excitement, a bit of nerves.
Yeah, definitely nerves. Nerves, excitement, a bit daunting because it's like no one's ever been to because whether we like it or not, it's an elite institution, you know? It really is. Cambridge has been there for hundreds of years. People know about it across the globe. They know it as a top tier university. And I was kind of like, me, this little black girl from East London, like working class family, immigrant parents. I was just like, how the hell did I end up here? And my plan was never Cambridge. I just never thought about it. It was literally, like I said, that one teacher, Miss McCarthy.
Oh, you remember her name?
I remember her name. Miss McCarthy, she was a baby, small little white lady with short hair. She was the one that really pushed me and was like, Nissy, you could go to Cambridge. I'm telling you, I'm going to get behind you. If they don't take you, I'm going to go. I'm going to bloody go with like plaques and stuff and protest on the grass. She really, really, really believed in me. But yeah, like I was just like, how did I end up here? Like, what the hell? And then like I remember the next morning, I got up really, really early to read over. Excuse me. Oh, the
smoothie it's coming up.
It's all coming up. Sorry.
Oh, same. I've been holding it in.
Literally. Sorry. But yeah, I sat there and I was just nervous. And then they asked us to come in. I remember sitting and it was like, I think it was like 2 people. And they were asking me questions about obviously like the essays that I'd written and stuff like that. And I think a book or something that we had to read. I can't really remember.
So there was quite a lot of work that you had to do before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Prior. So that's personal statement. That is your written pieces of work. And I think it was 2 pieces of written work. Your interviews as well.
Did they expect like a portfolio of some kind as well? Or would you say that the essays and stuff was part of
I think the essays were part of the portfolio, but I can't remember exactly. Let me not lie to you, it was so long ago now.
Yeah, of course.
But it was definitely a long process. Yeah, it was a really, really long. And you don't find out whether you've gotten in until like, is it like January or something? Oh, so for months, you're just kind of like
on edge.
On edge. Or when is it that you find out like your grades and stuff?
In summer.
In the summer?
Yeah.
Oh, so well then, the summer then.
So you had to wait all the way from October?
All the way to the summer. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Crazy.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time. So when you applied for Cambridge, did you have to apply for other unis as well? As like a
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. Cambridge was obviously one, like I said, and then you have 4 other choices, right? Because it's 5 choices, 4 other choices. So I applied for like Loughborough, obviously. Loughborough was my second choice. I applied for Warwick. I applied for, I think, Nottingham. And I can't remember the last one. But yeah, I applied for obviously other unis as well. Yeah, definitely.
And so you mentioned it, as a working class black girl, when you actually got into Cambridge, University of Cambridge, did you experience any barriers when you were there? Or did you feel like there was anything that was like, oh my gosh, it's a culture shock, I'm not at home anymore?
Yeah. So I would say that. I would use the word culture shock because, I don't know, call me arrogant, call me ignorant, call me naive. I don't care for barriers anywhere. Like, I honestly believe that the only barriers that are important are the ones in your mind. And I know that sounds some people, like I said, might call me naive because they might be like, no, but it's true, there's racism, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, people can be racist all they want. You're not going to stop me. You don't like me. You think that, you're black. You shouldn't get these opportunities. You're stealing our jobs or whatever other narratives that there are. That is absolutely fine. That's a you problem.
100%.
That is not a me problem. And I think that a lot of us, I think, as the black community, I think would get a lot further if we carry that mentality. But that's a story for another day.
Oh, we can get into that.
Oh, but on this day. I mean, I just feel like sometimes we basically, I think the moment that you make something your personal experience, you not dismissing the fact that racism is very real. We know that exists. There's racism, there's patriarchy, there's whatever. There's so many different E's and different things happening in the world. But I think the moment that you internalize that and you give it reason to stop you, you've already given the power over. That's how I see it. You've given the power over. But if you make a decision, because life is about choices. There will always be barriers, no matter who you are. Okay, you're a woman, there's going to be barriers because you're not a man. You're black, there's going to be barriers because you're not white. Oh, you come from a working class family. Oh, there's going to be barriers because you don't come from a middle class family. Oh, you are the children of an immigrant. Oh, there's going to be barriers because you don't have necessarily the benefits of nepotism. There's always going to be barriers, but that's none of my business.
So you shouldn't internalize it almost.
This is what I'm saying. And again, people might call me naive, they might call me, oh, but how can you not? It's an evident fact. If there are things trying to stop you, I'm like, well, then you've just got to be stronger and you've got to be better. It just is. What are we going to do? Cry about, I'm going to sit there and cry about the barriers every day of my life? It's just not going to happen. But that's me. I know that not everybody carries that. That is me personally. So I wouldn't say barriers, because all of you people at Cambridge, all you white people, even if you look at me and you don't like me, I'm here now. What at that point, what are you really gonna do? I'm here.
It's very true.
I've arrived. So you're not gonna kick me out. You're not gonna get me out. And even if you did, guess what? I would find a way to fight you back. Not physically, physically. But so I wouldn't say barriers. I would definitely say a culture shock, because we're both from East London, so London is a melting pot of all sorts of cultures, backgrounds. You meet people of different religions, faiths. You go to Cambridge, very diverse. You go to somewhere like Cambridge, and there's just a lot of white people, and you're just kind of like, oh, this is different, So I think for me, it was just culturally, it was a shock, because I was now in a space where there's all these different people, but it's like they come from a different world. Yeah. Completely different world. Because again, grew up in East London, very, very working class place. I grew up in Newham, one of the poorest areas in the United Kingdom. And pretty much everyone's story is pretty much the same. It's shared. Right. Very, very shared, right? Where you hear the same kind of typical story. Oh, I know someone that's been stabbed. I know someone that got shot. I know someone that sells weed. I know the stories are quite similar. Then you're removed from that, and you're going to an environment where now all of a sudden, you're meeting these kids who've gone to private school and who grew up in a completely different way. And I met one girl, for example, who I actually ended up kind of being friends with as well. Sweet girl, but she was like oblivious to the outside world. She grew up in a place where they have horses and just a very quiet little village, and she was just oblivious to the things of this world. She just didn't know. Really? Oh wow, people stab each other and get killed.
Oh, so she was she had a sheltered life.
Not even necessarily sheltered, because you know what you know. Right. You know what you know. If you grew up in the middle of nowhere in Yorkshire, I'm not checking for black people. I'm not checking for what other people are. I'm not going to lie to you. We might see them once in a while, but you're going to trust the news to tell you what black people are doing. So she just meeting people like that who just lived very different lives. Kids who they go on 3 holidays a year. These times we barely even went to one. Now life is different. We thank God. But just meeting all sorts of different people that were just living these completely different lives. I remember one girl being like, "Oh yeah, my parents, we have a chalet in somewhere. We go skiing in the mountains," and I was like,
very nice.
That's nice. That must be nice. And I was just in such shock because the conversations that people were having were completely different. I saw one kid, there was one boy that went, and he was from Norway or one Norwegian place or whatever it was, just rolling around in what's that, Canada Goose, and I was like, this jacket is expensive, and he's just as in on a normal day he's wearing drip, and I remember, I think my then, obviously now he's my husband, but Ben, he was my boyfriend at the time, he'd come and visit me at Cambridge, and he saw this kid. He was like, Nissy, do you know how much his whole outfit costs? I was like, babe, how much? Because I don't know.
Update me, please.
I don't know. And he was just like, his trousers, his shoes, his this, his that. But that's the life that some of these kids were living.
And it's just a normal thing.
Just a normal thing. He's rolling around, let alone talking about the international students. But them, they have they're very well known for, they'll come with Gucci, Prada. They're dressed in the latest drip, money. They're money, To be international anyway, your fees are way higher, so you've got to have money. But it was a culture shock. But again, I wouldn't say I experienced specific barriers to me. Again, not dismissing anyone's experience, not saying that they weren't racist people, not saying that people maybe did look at me and think, who the hell is this black girl? Where's she coming from? But I just don't care.
You don't let it affect you and what you're trying to do and what you're
I don't care. I ain't got time. There's too many things for us to do, too many things for us to work on. There's too much going on in the world and too much impact that needs to be made for us to be worrying about what other people think about us.
It's very true.
Yeah, don't care anymore.
Can you say that to the camera? I think they need to know.
I think they need to know. There is too much to do, too much impact for us to make, too much change for us to make in this world, for us to be worrying about what people think about us. People will always have an opinion. They won't like us, they will dismiss us, they will try and rewrite our stories, they will always. But that's none of our business. Our business is to be the best version of ourselves, to tell our own stories, to, you know, do things in the way that we approve of, and to create our own narratives. And that's it. You know, that's really it. Will it be, or perhaps may it be a bit harder than everybody else? Yes. Will it mean that you might have to overcome way more barriers than other people? Yes. But such is life. It just is. You know, it just is. But yeah, that's how I go into the world anyway. And I know that not everybody does, and some people are just like, I don't know. I just personally think everyone wants to be a victim these days, but it's alright. Again, story for another day.
Obviously, I know that you've got your power class that we'll get into.
Sorry, that's all right. My stomach is doing a lot right now.
I know you've got your power class, masterclass, where you basically encourage and inspire women all around the world to kind of come into their power, as you like to say. And I feel like that kind of links to what you're saying. It's about reclaiming and, you know, creating your own narrative, like you mentioned. I'm conscious of the time, but there's a question that I'm dying to ask, and I think the people watching this are dying to ask as well. I hope you don't think I'm being intrusive.
Oh God, okay, go on.
Show them the ring.
Oh!
Show them, they need to see
my ring like moved a little bit, but okay, I'll show you guys.
She's a married woman, guys.
She's
a married woman, a newly married woman. And obviously you mentioned that you're a Christian, and that's your faith is something that's very important to you.
100%.
So I want to ask the question that we're all dying to know, that
God.
I personally want to know, because I'm also a Christian girl. You know, So
I love that.
So I wanted to ask you, did you have any challenges dating and actually then getting married as a Christian girl? Like, did you have any challenges? Obviously, now you're married, there's some things that are fine. But in terms of when you're in that dating period, especially because you met, if I'm right, you met your husband at university or around that time, so that's quite young. So you've obviously grown together as well. So have you had any challenges, or what advice would you give to people that are in the same or similar situations as well?
I mean, challenges, that's a really, really good question. I mean, I think like anybody, especially any like woman, we kiss a few frogs before before we get to our Prince Charming. And I definitely did. I dated some idiots, let me just say, and if they're watching this, I hope that you've matured and you're better in life now.
She's atting you.
And I'm atting you, sending for you. I'm not going to mention their names, but definitely dated a few people who, now looking back, I'm just like, you deserved so much better than that. Like they were bottom of the barrel. Oh, no, let me not say it. Let me not be rude. Let me not be rude. Let me not be rude. Oh God, let me not be rude. No, let me not say that, because every human being adds value, and you know, everyone has to grow and everyone makes mistakes, right? But definitely people who I think, looking back now, I'm so glad I value myself more.
Yes.
Because I look back at some of the relationships I did have and how much I compromised my faith, what I believed in, what I stood for, compromised myself, got involved with people who I know, again, like looking back now, it's easy for me to kind of be like, Nissy, what were you doing? You know? But one thing that I will say for anyone that's kind of like in the dating process, or that wants to marry, or that, which by the way, there's nothing wrong with wanting to marry. I think marriage is a beautiful thing. I am married to, honestly, like, I believe that God saved me the best of the best. Like, God literally was just like, you're my fave, because I'm one of God's favorites, just in case you don't know. And he was just like, don't worry, girl, I've got you. When I say to you, my husband is my person, like, he is, oh mate, even today we were in church actually, and he gave a testimony. He was like, me and my wife, we've been together 6 years, married for 2. And everyone was like, wow. I was like, yeah, that's us. And he was just like, he said something that was really important as well. He was like, we're actually happy. Like, I am genuinely happy. And we, you know, a lot of people talk about the honeymoon stage and like, after a while of dating, it's all gonna die down, or you guys are just in the honeymoon stage. But we still have as much fun now as we did in the beginning, if not even more, right? Now, because we're married now, so we've got the freedom to do whatever we want now. But that honeymoon stage thing, I don't believe in. But yeah, so going back to like things that I would say, any advice I would give, just a couple of things. Number one, do not compromise. Do not compromise your integrity. Do not compromise who you are. Do not compromise what you stand for. And I'm especially talking to the Christian girls out there, right? Because we know, I don't even have to necessarily even go into it, but we know the things we should not be compromising on. Whether that be sex, whether that be anything, even just standard, like the type of person we should be going for, right? and we compromise it as somebody that has, right? This is me just being super, super honest. I've shared my journey. If you want to find out more, go on my YouTube channel. It's all there so that you guys can watch all of that. And I did that so that other people hopefully don't have to do that as well.
Yeah.
And especially other young Christian women don't have to feel like, they have to go through all of that, or they have to compromise in order to get the guy that they want. If a guy, all I can say is this, if a guy makes you compromise, he's not the guy for you. Because a guy that truly, I'll say it again, let it sink, let it marinate. If a guy makes you even feel like you have to compromise, I'm not talking about compromise now, you're in a healthy, loving, secure relationship, and now you're compromising on things like, oh, he doesn't like, I don't know, you eating, you making, I don't know, like small things. I'm not talking about compromising things like, oh, we're married now, because in marriage you do have to compromise some things, but I'm talking about the fundamental core principles and values. If a guy is making you compromise that, he is not for you, because a guy that truly loves you and cares for you is there to make sure that you are covered and you are protected. I'm still a big believer, and again, this is probably a conversation for another day. I'm still a believer that my husband is my covering and he's the leader of our household.
Thank you.
That's what I believe in. He is the head of our household. Now, for me to have someone that we have as the head, I have to be able to trust him with that position. Now, a word that a lot of women are repellent to, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yes.
I submit to my husband.
That's
but
weird.
I submit to him because he's submitted to God. And so I trust him enough. And this is the thing, whether we like it or not, and this is a debate that a lot of people have today about women feeling like we're strong and independent. We always have to be strong. I'm so sorry. I don't believe that women were built to be strong all the time. We weren't. We're flowers. We're delicate roses. We like to be looked after. Don't you think? Yeah, go on, say what you were going to say.
No, I actually agree with you. I just feel like, a man should make you go into your feminine energy.
Absolutely.
And the only way they're going to do that is by making you feel secure. So I agree.
Thank you.
With what
and
you're
if
saying.
you feel secure enough, if you trust him enough, you will submit like it's nothing. I submit to my husband because not that I become a doormat to him, and I think this is the misconception and the negative perception that people have. Not that I become a doormat, not that my opinion becomes useless. My husband lets me shine. My husband lets me do my thing. There's never a day, and my husband is my biggest supporter. He supports me in everything that I do, right? But in our household, in the creation of our family unit, he is the one that I truly trust enough to say, babe, do you know what? I don't think that this is going to be right. We're going to do this. And I trust him enough to do it. I'll give my opinion, but my husband, I submit to him because I trust him. And I think that's the issue. A lot of women, because we've been hurt, we've been betrayed, we've been treated like trash for a long time. I think a lot of women are not able to trust the person. So when they hear submission, they're like, oh my gosh.
Scary.
What the hell? I can't submit to a man. That means that I'm under him. No, babes, it doesn't. Because like you just said, when a woman feels secure, that feminine energy comes about and she's willing to be softer, kinder, more loving, more. I think a woman that's become hard is a woman that's gone through a lot. I think women that have been hurt a lot, women that have had their trust broken by men a lot, that's why women become super hard. But I'm telling you, if you're a good man and you love the woman and you don't treat her like a second-class citizen, but you raise her up like the queen that she is and you hold her up on a pedestal, I'm telling you, that woman, what? She would do anything for you.
It's true.
Like my husband, listen, there's nothing I wouldn't do for that man. Nothing. Sometimes I get annoyed, don't get it twisted. Sometimes I don't, but my husband, there's nothing I would not do. And I'm his biggest cheerleader as well. But yeah, I say all of that to kind of like say, make sure that you are not compromising your principles. Stand for what you believe in. And find a person. I'm talking to the women now, because you mentioned before, I predominantly focus on women, because I just feel like women, we've given our power too much. Like we've given it away, whether it be to men, to other people. But as women as well, look for a man who you truly know is there because they want to cover you, they want to protect you, they want to I would just say that, like, if a man is willing to kind of get you to compromise a bit, or to like, oh no, but babe, just, because I love you, like, he's not for you, because he doesn't care about you. He cares about getting what he wants. A man who truly cares about you, he will make sure that no, it's true. Even when you sometimes you're a bit like, yo, babes. So how you doing? Because let's not get twisted. Myself and my husband were celibate. until we got married.
Really?
But there were some days.
8 years?
No, not for 8 years.
Okay.
So we dated for 4, got married. Yeah, we dated for 4 and then got married.
Okay.
But in that time, was it hard? Absolutely. There were some days where I was like, babes, so I'm starting to feel a bit some type of way.
Yeah.
But the man that he was like, no.
And he respected.
He respected me. He respected himself, and had enough discipline to be like, we're not doing that. We're gonna do things differently. And that's when I just knew, this is my husband, because he was willing to sacrifice what he wanted for himself and what maybe his flesh desired in order for him to say, no. We're gonna do this right. We're gonna do this God's way, and we're gonna honor him. And God has honored us. When I say to you, I'm telling you, God has favor. I'm telling you.
And we can see you're glowing, girl. You're glowing.
We do. I know.
I just love love. I love love.
I love it too. When it's good and it's healthy and it's great. And so far so good.
Yeah. Cheers to plenty more years.
Oh, girl,
more years.
let's cheers to that.
Cheers,
plenty
Healthy
more years.
Yes,
I love that.
Yes.
Oh, man.
But no, honestly, Nissy, thank you so much for coming on here and opening up, because we have gone through quite a few things that can be, deep and personal to you. So thank you for just being so transparent and honest, and just showing the people who you really are and what you stand for.
I appreciate you.
You're great. You're amazing.
Keep
encouraging women, keep empowering people, and keep being your authentic self, because you are doing big things. You're doing amazing things.
Thank
you. You're an inspiration to many.
I appreciate you, and thank you so much for having me. This is amazing. We made smoothies.
I know.
We got to have a really good conversation, so thank you so much for having me.
Definitely.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming. But before we go, I do this with all of my guests. This is one of the Mixin' It Up podcast things.
Yes.
I like to end things on a positive note always.
Awesome.
So I do this thing called Star Fruit of the Month or Star Fruit of the Week. And essentially, your Star Fruit is somebody that you just want to put on the spotlight, give them a platform and just big them up, basically. It can be anyone. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be someone that's in the public eye. It could be anyone. It's just your opportunity to really, something that we don't do enough in society.
I agree.
Just big somebody up and just, let people know.
There's so many people. Like,
you have to choose one. I'm so sorry.
How do you even pick, between them?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to give it to my best friend.
Yeah.
My best friend, Mandy. She is such an incredible human being. And she's not like a creator like me, not online like me or anything like that. Like, she's super low-key, does her own thing. She's a consultant. She's she also went to Cambridge as well. We met at Cambridge, actually. And she was the one that actually helped me through when my best friend passed away, my best friend Adele passed away. She was like my pillar. She was like an angel sent from heaven. But she is one of the most kind-hearted, most incredible human beings ever on this planet. And I think it's difficult to find people who you can genuinely trust to be there for you, to support you, to love you unconditionally. She's one of those people. She's such a great human being. So I think I'm gonna put the starlight on her.
That's lovely. Yeah. Shout out to you, darling. But thank you so much, Nissy, for joining us on the Mixin' It Up podcast. Guys, do make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and also share it with all of your people, because you don't want to just come here once and never come again. You're going to be missing out on so much great content. As you can see, we have the vibes, and most importantly, we have smoothies. We have smoothies, darling.
We have smoothies. I think this is my favourite part. Let me not lie.
The fact that we get to drink smoothies. I love it. But thank you guys for joining us, and thank you, Nissy, for joining us here on the couch.
Thank you so much.
It's been amazing.
It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and cheers.
Cheers.
To success and happiness.
I love that, and wealth and more money.
Amen. Claim it.